Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's happy Monday. Hello, everybody. All right, let me get to this. I got to play around with my new system. So, hi, Barbara. How you doing? Welcome to me flying solo today. Elaine's off on her wonderful vacation with her grandkids. So here I am, holding down the fort. So if anyone is new to StreamYard, be sure that you click on the link so you accept it. So I see your comments, but right now I'm doing good. I see Dolly and I see Barbara. So that's good. So hopefully I keep my fingers crossed everything works good today because this is a new system for me. Elaine took her system with her. Hi, Faye. See, I got everybody saying happy Monday. Oh, and Barbara likes my singing, so I can sing all afternoon, but I won't do that. I think it's time to make a card. What do you guys think? All right, well, I chose Timeless Tulips today. So this is a carryover from our previous catalog, but it was such a pretty stamp set that I thought instead of doing something new, let's do something that we've had in a while that nobody's probably even looked at for probably a few months. So we're going to do this card, and I'm going to use our mask, and I'm going to do some blending with our brushes, and I'm going to use these beautiful colors here. So let's get this party started. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. Actually got to get a manicure and a pedicure yesterday with Elaine. Woo! Look at those pretty fingers. I actually did, I think they called this gel, but it's a powder that you did. Oh, hi, Donna. How you doing? Thank you for sharing. So I thought it was kind of fun. Do something different. So let's get this going. Let me get all my setup here. You know, I always have to have my paper. I'm going to show you how to use your grid paper on something that I'm going to do today too with the mask. So a little tip from me about how I use that. So let's get my paper going, and we're gonna, first I'm gonna do is, and when I designed this in my mind, I wanted something that was gonna be more of a band down this side, and then I was gonna put my flower on this side of the paper. So that's just kind of how I kind of do things in my head. So I was kind of laying out, and I thought because of the flowers being the centerpiece of this, I would go ahead and do that first, and then I would go ahead and do the band second. So that way I can work around how my flowers look on the card. So I am going to go ahead and get my main color is going to be Misty Moonlight that I do my flower with, and I'm going to use these two flowers here, not the largest one we have, but the medium-sized one and then the smaller one. And then I'm going to work around that. So I kind of get an idea of what I want this to look like. You know me, I always do my test. Got to do my test here. I'm probably going to have my head in here a little bit because I have to kind of get an idea. So see, get to see my hair again. So let's see. I think I'll go ahead and put my main flower here. And then I'm going to do two smaller flowers on either side. Just kind of gauge on how you, when you look at a vase and you see your flowers, just kind of what they might look like. That's what I normally do. Just kind of give me an idea of what I want to do. And then this actually has stems that you can do too, of course, and leaves. So we're going to do those next. And I'm going to do those in Just Jade. So let me get this done. We'll be back for a minute to use these colors again. But I decided I wanted to use my stems as Just Jade. Hi, Jane. Hi, Brenda. Glad everybody could join me. Let's see. So I've got two different stems here. I've got one that's kind of straight. Show you those two. And then I've got one that's kind of curved. So I think on this, I'm going to do my straight one for the middle. So I kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. And I'm going to make mine go all the way to the bottom, of course. So I'm going to kind of get an idea of what I want it to look like. And I'm going to go ahead and get my block and pick that up. The key with, remember, with the key with doing these stamps is just let it lie the way it normally would do, unless you're trying to change the look of it and the shape. But I normally just lay it down and then I pick it up with my block. And then that way it's got that natural shape to it. All right, so I'll go ahead and do this. Remember, it's just a light tapping that you're going to do on that. I'm going to do a test there. That looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the middle one. All right. And on the other one, I think I'm going to use my curved one for this one, but I think I'll go ahead and use my straight one for this one, but I'm going to kind of angle it a little bit. That one. I'll clean it off there, and I'll go ahead and put my other one on. Remember, I'm just going to let it lay the way it wants to, and then just pick it up with my block. Go ahead and do my test. Sometimes I get in such a hurry, sometimes I forget to do that, and I'm like, darn, I should have done that. I mess it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Whoops, see, got my head in the camera again, but well, I can't help it when I need to kind of line things up a little bit. All right, now it's time to get some leaves here. Now our leaves, there were three different sets or three different types of leaves. They're kind of different sizes, I guess you would say. It's kind of one that's bigger, one that's kind of skinny, and then one that's kind of fat in the middle and kind of skinny on either side. So I'm going to use that one, the fat in the middle and the skinny on either side. And what I want to do here is I'm going to test that, and then I'm just kind of get an idea. Now see, I got too wild with my ink, so I got ink on my block. So always make sure that you do that. Now I probably could try to find a smaller block, probably even use my skinnier one. That might work, but I'll just be careful on this one. All right, so on the leaves, I've decided now you can kind of have them go do two different ways, You can do it this way or that way, just kind of play around with it. But I kind of get an idea of what I want to do. And I think I'm going to do one over here, but I don't remember. I'm going to put a band over here, so I'm kind of remembering that I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have my leaves kind of go more up. I'll have one down here. Oops, see, I'm trying to get a little ink there. Happens to all of us, you know. Now this one, I'm going to just take a little bit of that ink off and put the other one on. All right. And then I'm going to do this one, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to have coming over from this way. There we go. That way we've got a little connection with the one in the middle too. And then I think I might do one more, but on this one, I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm only going to ink a little bit of the top part of this. So I'm going to make it a little shorter. And what I do is I just use my finger and I wipe off some of the ink kind of where I want it to be. So I can kind of gauge what I want to do here and then put it down. See, look at that. Kind of looks like it's so you've got a little bit of difference there. All right. Now, like I said, if you get a little bit of ink on there, you know we have our trusty little eraser, and we all use them, believe me. I use this thing all the time because my fingers get in the way, and sometimes it won't take it completely out 100%, but it will sure fade it away enough where you won't notice that mark. You just kind of have to work with the paper a little bit and just work with it a little bit in circles, and it will definitely fade it away a little bit. Okay. Now I've got that going, so I've got my flowers done, and now I'm going to work on my mask. Hi, Elaine Franklin. How you doing? Nice to see you. All right, now what I was going to show you is I'm going to work with my grid paper a little bit. Now, what I mean by that, you know, we sell this, and I love this grid paper. I use it all the time to protect my work surface, but I actually use the grids quite a bit too. And this is what I mean by this. I'm going to kind of center this to get my masking going. So I'm going to kind of just do that as my gauge. And you know, Elaine sells in her Amazon shop, she sells this, it's not yellow, but it's white, this Post-it note tape. And I think this is the best thing since sliced bread. So I'm going to just hold that down for a second. Now I'm going to get my mask. And what I decided is I kind of played around with this mask, and there, you know, it's got some different, it's got like this pattern to it. And I decided in the beginning I was going to do the pattern, but then I didn't like that look. So that's what's nice about this. Now you're going to say, oh, well, Cindy, how are you going to do a mask if you don't do this? Well, next best friend I have is I love these Post-it note pads, because this is how I do my masking. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and decide what I want to do, and I'm going to use this as my idea. See, now I can see through it, and I kind of know what it's going to look like and kind of where I want it to start. So I played around. You kind of sometimes have to play around with it. Sometimes you don't do it perfect the first time, but it does work, let me tell you. So I'm going to go ahead and mask off what I don't want to use. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put that underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. So I'm going to kind of do it this. And I'm going to kind of decide, you kind of have to play, because see, now I'm trying to work with where my flowers are, and I'm kind of trying to work with the grid lines to make sure that this stays straight. So I think this will be good. And then you can kind of see what I mean by that. If you don't get it straight where the paper is, then sometimes your grid lines will be a little off when you're doing your masking. So that's what I use this for. So I'm going to do this one more time. You just kind of have to play with it a little bit. Nothing's perfect the first time until you kind of get what you're comfortable with. And I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to make sure that this is up. I made that mistake the first time I did this as my, my guide, and I didn't go on top of the paper, and then it looked kind of funky because I kind of missed an area. All right, so I think that's good for that side. Now I'm going to go ahead, and I think I can go ahead and do it on this side. Well, I can probably still stick it in. Now I decided I didn't want a really big area. Oops. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just do this then. Just popped off for me for just a second. That's just the way it goes. All right, now let me see if that's big enough. I think that will be. Yep, I think that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to do that. It looks like they're kind of even. You never know when you're on camera what it's going to look like. Best laid plans, but you never know. So I'm going to kind of do this. I kind of know what I want to start with. Now I'm going to hold this down. And I'm going to hold this down. All right, now I'm going to take one little more piece at the bottom here, because I remember last time I did this. I wish I had done that. Just to kind of, so it doesn't keep popping up. And see how it's going to kind of give you a pattern here? Just kind of give you that. And then I can kind of see down below what my paper is going to look like. But yeah, I think this will work. I might want to move this over just a tad though. One more time. I'll move that over just a minute. You know me, I gotta get it just right. Yeah, I think that will work. All right. Well, if it doesn't, that's just the way it goes, right? All right. Now, going to get our brushes, and then I'm going to do a little bit of blending on this just to kind of get that pattern going. I'll move this up just a tad so I don't use that. Yeah, I don't want to be on top of this. Just kind of have to play with it a little bit. It's just the way it is when you're crafting, you know. All right. I just don't want that to move. That's why I'm holding it down. All right, I think we are good. It kind of looks like I've got the pattern going. And so I decided on the top part, I'm going to do, you just tap this. And what I find is it's better just to hold it with my two fingers than using this. I don't have as much control. I like having more control on the head. And I think it's easier on your hands. So I just kind of go off from the outside and I kind of go in on the paper. And you can do it as light or dark as you want. It's just really up to you on what look you're looking for. But I like to overlap my colors a little bit too. So I kind of start a little darker on the top and then I leave it a little lighter there. So see, it doesn't take much. You can always fix it a little bit too if you decide once you look at it you don't like those colors. I'm going to use polished pink as my middle color. And again, I'm going to do the same thing where I go and tap it a little bit and then I just start blending on top of that misty moonlight and then bring it down a little bit and make it a little darker and then a little lighter. Or lighter and darker, whatever works. But I do like blending the two colors together. I think it's a nice overlap. And then I'm going to do Just Jade again. And I'm going to use and remember our brushes, we tend to just use the same family of color because, you know, most of that color will be off. See, there's hardly any color on there. Even though there's color here, you don't see it on my paper. So I'm just going to tap this and I'm going to do the same thing as I'm going to start blending over my polished pink and go all the way to the bottom. All right. Now what you can do too is you can kind of peek when you lift this up. So see, I've still got it at the top here. You can just pull that up and see what it looks like and see if you're liking what that blended look looks like. But I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But that's what's nice about this is that, see, that paper still will be just laid down because you've got that Post-it note at the top. And the same thing over here. So I think I'm happy with that. And then just to clean this, just run it under some water and tap it off with a paper towel and they're ready to use again. Let me tell you about these. They are in our catalog and there's actually 2 sets of them. This is the one I'm using up here, which is called Basic Patterns. And then we have a new one called Plenty of Patterns. And I think for the price, they are a must-have in your toolbox because these are a great way to make your own background paper without, if say you didn't have the right colors, you'll make your own. You've got plenty of patterns in here. Just go to town with your blending brushes and you will have a ball making your own paper. I love doing that. That is one of my favorite things to do. And see what I mean by that? It really adds something to the card. And I think that just is a nice way of putting your own touch on there. Say, you know, again, quick and easy, really doesn't take that long. Just make sure that you have all your little tools ready. Take that off of there. And you can always reuse these. I reuse them a lot. I just stick them over to the side. And I think that's a great way to recycle. You know, we're all into recycling. All right, now let's get this back. And I'm going to go ahead and I decided, you know, one of my favorite Happy Hippo. I love the dies that came with that stamp set. This is one of the dies. So I decided this would be a perfect die to go here on the front of my card. And, you know, I just didn't want this. I wanted this to be my background color, which is my Just Jade. And I wanted to go ahead and put my sentiment on it, but look, it'll be the same size. Well, you know, I think I've mentioned this before, but because these are stitched, let's see if I can get a little closer. You can see the stitching on there. Yeah, there you go. See the stitching. You can use that as your guide and go ahead and trim it, and then it will fit perfectly on top of your Just Jade and look like you've got your own layers. So a nice way to use our dies and get a lot of usage out of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Happy Birthday out, which I still think is in here. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. I think that would be, I tested it. It was a perfect way to stamp that on my die. And I'm going to do that in polished pink. Aren't you surprised, ladies? I'm not using purple today. I really wanted to, but I didn't. All right, so just a little light tap, and I'm going to go ahead and do my test. that again. That was weird how that turned out. I'm going to do a little cleaning on that one. Even though you clean them when you put them back in every time, you just never know when there's something on there. So I'm going to do that one more time. That's why we do our testing. Oh, much better. So a little tapping on that. And okay, here comes my head again. I'm going to put that on the inside. I'm going to put my happy birthday. There we go. See how I said perfect size to fit into there. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut off that stitching. And when I do, it'll be the perfect size to go over that other one that's just jade, and then we'll have something that's layered. Always got to have our scissors out ready to fussy cut something or trim something. You know, that's just the way it is. Uh-oh, there's my Coco. She's a barking today. She's not happy because I wouldn't let her in here. So she's having a time. All right. So I hope everybody's having a good day. Brenda, how are you feeling? Are you feeling better? Cocoa Bean. That's enough. Okay. Well, there's my dog. That's just the way it goes. All right. So let's go ahead and put this on my Just Jade. I'm going to do that. So now I've got this matted down. I've got my, now see, I've noticed that one side is a little, so I'm going to move that over just a little bit and move it there. There we go. All right. Now I'll get my little dimensionals here and I'm going to start putting this card together. Now I used the same colors for my card itself. So I'm going to use my base as Misty Moonlight. This is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5. And I'm going to go ahead and put my layers on here. So this is polished pink. So I'm going to go ahead and put those 2 layers together. Put that on. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and get my dimensionals. You can use the little ones or the bigger ones. Either one of those would work. Oh, good. Brenda's feeling much better. I heard you were under the weather. Go. All right. Put my happy birthday there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this on, my other layers. Whoop. I'm throwing things around on my craft room. What can I say? All right. Try to keep my head out of the picture. It's not easy. All that gray hair just keeps growing like crazy. All right. Now I need to do my inside of the card. And on my inside of the card, I'm going to go ahead and put another little flower in there, another tulip. And one of the things I was going to show, another tip I'm going to show you. Well, one of them is right here. When you don't have to have the happy birthday all the way across. You know how I'm doing my card right now where it's all the way across, right? You can actually stamp your happy and then clean it and then stamp your birthday and then you can layer it on top of each other. So that's just another tip of how to maximize your stamps. The other thing is when I was looking at here, I didn't really have something that went along with the birthday. I didn't want to do the memories of yesterday. I didn't want to do that, but I like the happy everything. But I didn't want to do happy Easter, happy spring. So I'm going to take my sentiment and guess what I'm going to do? I'm only going to ink the happy everything at the bottom. So all you do, and the key on this one, is that I take the edge put it on the edge of my ink. And then I kind of look to see if I get everything. Now, if you do get the other part, sometimes I just clean it off with my hand and make sure I do that. But I'll do that inking one more time. You just be very careful of doing the happy, and you can even do a test on it. So see, I got that Easter part on there. So I'm going to clean that one more time and then clean that off and do it just like I said. You just have to be very careful about how you're inking it. You can kind of see it as you do it. So I'm going to try to get that without my head in there. It's not easy when I'm trying to look because everything we have to look is up and down. All right, I think I got that. I got the H's on the happy. All right, see, I'm trying to kind of see how I've got it all. I think I did it. The other thing you can do sometimes is just take a little bit of a dauber, and that'll work too. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my happy, happy everything there. There we go. It worked. Yay. I'm always happy when it works. Even when I do have my head in the camera. What can I? All right. So I'm going to do another little flower on here. Just, because you know how it is. Can't have a naked card. All right. And we're going to do, I'm going to do the small little tulip. And I'm going to do one right here. All right. And then I'm going to do get my little stem out. And I think I'll just do the straight one. And I'm going to do that, of course, again in just jade. And I'll do my little leaves, kind of mimic it like I did before. I got to have that. So I can't have just a stem on my flower. All right. And then get my leaves going. And I'll use the same skinny one I did before. And I'm going to just do a little bit of the ink off of there. Well, not that much. Just slightly hit it so it's not as uniform. And I decide I want my leaf going up. All right. There you go. See how pretty that is? All right, go ahead and put that on the inside. And see, I got a little bit of ink on there because you know me. I got my inky fingers already. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to get that off. You just kind of have to work with it a little bit. But that's just the way this eraser works. See how light that is? You don't even know it's right there right now. All right. So I'm going to close these up because you know me. I'm going to probably drop my card in there and then I'll be all upset that all of a sudden I have ink all over the card. And one more on this. Yeah, I love these tulips, Faye. I just, when I was going through, I was looking at I love flowers. It's my thing. And I thought, we haven't seen these tulips in a while. Haven't seen this stamp set. So go ahead and put that in. And then I decided that I wanted, of course, you know me, I got to have my bling. So I wanted to go ahead and, if I can find it, I had everything all nice and organized over here. Now it's all discombobbled. Working on a new area here, so I don't know what I did with my bling. But anyway, I decided that I wanted to put some bling on there, and I will show you what I did. I put some bling on there, and then I colored it with my Misty Moonlight. So I think that would, you can leave it clear, but I wanted to add a little bit of color in there. So that is my card for today. So I think that would make a quick and easy happy birthday card. Happy, happy everything. You can do that in any color you want. Tulips come in such a variety of colors. You just never know. You can come up with yellows and pinks and blues and purple. Can't forget those purple colors. But hope everybody enjoyed that today. And as you know, a reminder that Elaine is on vacation, but I think she still went ahead and did her scrapbook video. So that will be Wednesday. So look forward to that at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. And then Friday, I think it's the 25th. And you know what that is? It's going to be our paper pumpkin alternatives. And I have been challenged to do that because I didn't want Elaine have to do and work about all those things. So that's what I'm going to do on Friday is I'm going to come up with this beautiful paper pumpkin alternative. So stay tuned on Friday at 2 o'clock and I will be back. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I really did. And I look forward to seeing you Friday. Bye, ladies. See you later.